everyone, and welcome to Textiles and Tea with the Handweavers Guild of America. I'm Kathy Group, and I get to be your host today. We want to start off by thanking our sponsor. We have a new sponsor, Blaine Fleece and Fiber, a farm with a heart. Isn't that a great name? I would encourage y'all, if you're having a bad day, go to their website. They have got the cutest critters on their website, and it'll just make you feel better. And then, of course, they've got all that wonderful material that you can buy. So check them out, Blaine Fleece and Fiber. Thank you so much for sponsoring us today. We appreciate it. As always, if you would, please put your questions in the Q&A so I can see them. We love your chat. Keep those coming. But sometimes I can't always read the chat, but I know I'll see the Q&A. We'll get to many of those as we can. Today, we have Nicole Yi Messier. Nicole is a creative technologist. How's that for a term? And we're going to talk more about that today. She's a designer and an artist whose work centers on storytelling, community, and installation. She creates these expressive, soft, and tangible technology interfaces through digital media and experimental craft techniques. With a practice that spans both commercial and cultural sectors, she is focused on constructing beautifully orchestrated objects and experiences at the intersection of technology and materiality. She is also the co-founder of Craftwork, and it's a multidisciplinary design and art studio that explores the natures of textiles and technology through installations and storyteller and material-based research. She also teaches coding as well as electronic textiles at Parsons School of Design and at New York University. And she's the founding organizer of Electronic Textile Camp. And we're going to talk some about that camp today, too. Her work has been exhibited all over, most recently at the National Communication Museum in Australia, the 2nd Street Gallery, Inu Ink's Demo Festival, and the Clive Davis Gallery. She's been awarded notable fellowships and residencies, including New Ink, CultureHub New York City, Praxis Digital Weaving Residency, Directangle, and Pocoapoco. Welcome. Nicole, it's wonderful to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
We're excited to talk to you about this new wave of technology and fiber. We're seeing so much of it recently, and we're excited to hear more about this. But let's start with the important question, which is, what is your favorite tea?
My favorite tea these days, I'm drinking a lot of iced hojicha. Recently cut out coffee in my life, so yeah.
You're a better woman than me. How'd you get started in fiber?
I got started in fiber during grad school. I got my MFA at Parsons in Design and Technology, which is a new media and design program. And I took a class called Computational Craft. And there we did a lot of work where we're using traditional electronics with traditional craft techniques to make playful, soft interfaces. So the materials ranged from hard wires to hard electronic components such as an LED or a motor, mixed with conductive fabrics, conductive yarns, as well as traditional yarns and fabrics.
So I'm trying to figure out how you came up with lights in fiber. So was that like from the get-go, the very first thing you started doing when you got into these classes, that was a given that lights would be in the fiber, or was that something you developed as you worked on it?
A little bit of both. When you're working with e-textiles, one of the first things you do is make a LED light up. And so you usually make that light up with wires, and then you'll move on to doing it with conductive thread, and then you'll do it with conductive fabrics. And that's just because it's a very simple, basic circuit. So that's one of the first things you kind of learn when you're exploring these materials. And then kind of the larger scale work that I'm doing with Craftwork and Victoria is where we immersed ourselves in working with light on a more large scale. And as a creative technologist, you also, I'm working a lot on digital screens, and sometimes that manifests as projections, which is light-based. worked on large scale LED rigs, so using like large scale lighting tubes as a screen as well. So there's light has made its way into my work through a lot of different materials.
Well, I don't think I'm excited if I can get the battery into the machine correctly to make a light work. So was it hard to learn about using LEDs and all the electronic things that you had to understand to make this work? Or was it more simple than I think?
My first degree was in engineering, so I came at
Oh,
computational craft from an engineering perspective. But the funny thing is in engineering school, you learn a lot of theory.
ah,
So the first time that I felt like I was actually using the theory and building things was in this computational craft class. And there was such a magic to the materials because they were soft, you could touch them. And I think that's when everything clicked for me.
that's great. Now, how did you meet Victoria Mangiello and you started Craftwork together? How did all that happen?
Victoria and I actually met at Electronic Textile Camp in 2018. She was a resident, and that's where we met. She now helps run the camp. And then over the years, we did a lot of skill swapping. So she would come over and teach me how to use my knitting machine, and I teach her how to code. And as the years went on, we developed projects together. And it just seemed we kept coming back to this collaboration. So in 2022, we decided to make the collaboration official, and we created Craftwork, which is a space for us to bring both of our separate practices together. And we work on a number and range of different projects that utilize both our skill sets.
Now, is it an actual physical space or is it just a joint working situation?
It's both. We have a
Okay.
studio in Clinton Hill. And so if you're ever in Brooklyn, please come say hi. And yeah, we spend Monday through Friday in the studio together.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I'm always curious when I'm looking at your work and I see, the electronics going on in there. Does it matter the material that you use, the fiber that you use when you're making um, these objects? Because I think we have a picture um, to show one of these materials. Mandy, I think I've jumped ahead for about 3 questions. I apologize. But does it matter which material that you use? Do you have to use cotton or you have to use linen or you have to use a synthetic? Does it matter?
There's never a right material. I think there's a lot of experimentation that goes into it. There's
Uh-huh.
always materials that work better than others. We find ourselves working across the spectrum of both like natural and synthetic fibers. Sometimes if you're working with a certain kind of conductive fabric, it might work better on a synthetic or cotton. It just kind of depends. And we usually figure that out through like a prototyping and swatching process.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, you did an installation that was created for the National Communication Museum in Melbourne.
mhm.
And this was part of the 2025 exhibition called Signal to Noise. Um, can you talk about, I'm really curious. I want you to talk about the whole exhibit, but I'm very curious. What did the prospectus say that you went, I want to do this show, or did they approach you?
They approached us.
Okay.
The curators had seen an iteration of Ancient Futures um, at the New Ink Demo Festival, and so they had approached us. But as I was reading your question, I think that I could read the description. It's very short of the exhibition that might give context to it. Just gonna read it from my phone. So Signal to Noise explores how artists work with, challenge, or complicate the relationship between signals and noise, disruption, glitches, or interference in communication technologies and the messages they send. These technologies include the internet, telephones, radio, and television, artificial intelligence, social media algorithms, and even the sound of the natural world. Artists are the buzz in the radio, the data that brings AI to a glitching halt. Instead of seeing noise as something to block out, artists in the exhibition reframe noise as a signal in itself and an opportunity for creative engagement. Through international artworks, new commissions, and technology collections, the political, social, philosophical, and aesthetic possibilities for noise are examined, revealing the limits of technology's capacity to contain noise while embracing the inevitable and productive friction noise makes possible. And then there's like one note that they talk about our project, simultaneously evocative of the transmission of signals over telephone, while touching upon the origins of computing in the Jacquard loom into the modern era of computation. Ancient Futures open signal to noise with an acknowledgement of collected stories meant to be communicated silently in light. Signal can be found in silence. So this, go ahead.
I want you to talk about this, but before you do, I just want people to understand the white that we see in this, that is light, correct? Okay, I just want people to understand that's not a white cord. That is light that you've made. So tell us about this. What was the noise in this piece for you?
So Ancient Futures is an interactive installation, and next to the installation, there's a telephone and a screen. So anyone can walk up to the textiles and they'll be presented with a prompt to pick up the telephone. When they pick up the telephone, they hear a bit of history about how textiles have always held stories and data across time and space. And then they're prompted to give it a message. And what the installation does is it translates that message from speech to text, and then it does a sentiment analysis on it. So it pulls out the emotion and then reflects that back in light. And for us, the noise is kind of the disruption of the words and translating it into a light. That's kind of our introduction of the noise.
That's amazing. So are these white light that I'm looking at, does that changes color then? It's not always white?
Exactly. So if you,
Oh,
yeah, so there are images of it, maybe not here, but that when you walk up to it, if perhaps you give it a message that is sad, the light will reflect an emotion that is sad. And the idea is that this piece travels between different locations and it has an ambient state that kind of reflects the overall emotions of a certain community or space. So it's a like forever evolving kind of time capsule of messages in this textile.
well, when you're designing these fabrics to contain these, I'm calling them tubes. I'm not sure what else you would call them. When you're designing the fabric, what do you have to do to accommodate that wiring or that tube?
So what you're referring to as tube is the fiber optic.
Fiber optics. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. At its core, the fiber optic is just a light or a glass tube with plastic around it. And it's actually not electronic at all. And at the end of it is a light source. And so if you were to flip this frame around, you would see an LED strip. And we've made a rig for our fiber optics so that each fiber optic has their own addressable LED so that we can animate each fiber optic and have animations that sweep across the entire textile and installation. We've done a lot of swatching and prototyping over the years to figure out the best way to weave the fiber optics in and have them be a part of a larger electronic system that has to sit within the frame. We've also explored like hand sewing LEDs into the textiles, using conductive thread. There's been a number of iterations that we've done over the years.
So when I'm looking at, Mandy, can you go back to the previous image? When I look at this, it look obviously you wove this in at the time. This wasn't added later, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's woven while it's on the loom.
Okay, so it's kind of a plain weave that
Exactly.
holds it in place.
Exactly.
Okay. I didn't know if you had to do like a double weave or a twill works better, or we're weavers. We want to know these things. So, what's the design? What's the pattern that works the best?
There's been a number of experiments that we've done, but for the most part, we've just done plain weave. We have done double weave and made pockets for them
I
before.
wondered about that, yeah.
But we like the ability to show more of the fiber optic and have the light come through and have it be a part of the material and not hiding it.
Well, that's why I wanted to show this, because the fiber optics is very exciting, but the fiber is too. I love the pattern that it does with the contrast in materials, this, like you said earlier about the soft versus the less soft, and just that pattern that it makes. It's just really attractive. It's beautiful.
Yeah. We joke that they feel kind of like bugs when you zoom out. So we call these bugs.
Bugs, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to remember that. I don't know how many times I say this, but I would love to have seen this in person. It just must have been amazing to see the lights change and just have the interaction of the piece. It didn't just sit there. You actually interacted with it, right?
Yeah, you actually interact with it, and it's actually always animating. So the lights are constantly changing and evolving. It's a very subtle animation, like a gradient, but it'll animate over all of the stories it collects. So it shifts from white to green to blue to purple over a spectrum of light.
And I know Liz Adams is watching. How big is this piece?
How big is this piece? Oh, I can't.
Guesstimate. I mean, 3 feet, 8 feet.
Each panel is 2 feet. Where the fiber optics each are 2 feet by 4 feet. And
Okay.
so there's 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. And then each of them have canopies. So the two on the far wall have longer canopies, and the three on the short wall have shorter canopies.
So it's 2 feet wide.
Each frame, yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
There you go, Liz. Now you know what size it is. Well, this next one, and I have to get used to the terminology. The whole concept of noise is a new concept for me, and I apologize for trampling all over it. So this next piece is a performance piece project that you did, and I just think this is amazing. It's AM/FM radio. So try to explain that to someone like me. How did that work? And the piece is gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you. So this is a project that came out of Electronic Textile Camp. We were working in groups, and the group I was in decided to work to think about what it might mean to live off the grid and have to create our own radio systems that were on our body and wearable. So we explored making radio transmitters on the body. And so what you're seeing on the right side of the screen is actually the antenna. And so the antenna is designed to wrap around your arm. And when you wrap it around, the stripes that you're seeing, that's copper taffeta, so a conductive fabric. So it creates this helix design, which in itself is an antenna. And then the black piece of fabric that I'm holding in my hand has a circuit on it that's also made out of conductive copper taffeta. And it has a little microphone on it so that I could speak into it and I could transmit it over the radio. And that's using a number of different electronics. There's this is technical, but I'll just go into it. There's this chip called the 555 timer. It's an analog chip where you can create a ton of different circuits. And the beauty of it is you can create something like a radio with a relatively low amount of parts. And so this project is just exploring how we can have these radios on our bodies, and we actually ended up at the end of Electronic Camp performing them in the mill that we were at and reading from a book and transmitting it over the radio.
Oh, what the future holds is amazing. That you can just walk around with your radio on you. You'll be wearing your radio. It's amazing. Now this next piece will look familiar to our viewers because we talked about this with Victoria when she was on here. would you talk a little bit about this installation and what your part was in this?
Sure. This is another iteration of Ancient Futures. So this piece, we originally created it for the New Ink Demo Festival, which is a festival through the New Museum. And so this, similarly to the one at the National Communication Museum in Melbourne, you can also walk up to this piece and tell it a story, and the light is reactive. This particular piece hangs from the ceiling, and there's 18 panels, and each panel is connected to the next through the fiber optics. So as Victoria was weaving this piece, the textile kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and she was kind of having to maneuver over the textile. Um, Victoria Victoria is the weaving expert and I'm the creative technology expert. That being said, there's like a lot of overlap between our roles. There's a lot of discussions on how the textile should look, how the software should influence the light and therefore also influence the textile. If we had to like officially break our roles up, I would say I was in charge of the software and the hardware.
It's just so amazing. Again, I wish I could have seen it in real life to see. Well, this next piece is a little bit different. Now, this is from the Algorithmic Sketches series. And can you talk about kind of walk us through how this was made?
Yeah. So we have a kind of a research-based project called Algorithmic Textures. And so it's an ongoing project where we create our own algorithms and software to create visuals that then we produce in various physical forms. Sometimes it's screen printed, a lot of times it's woven, sometimes it's on the knitting machine. So the picture on the right was made on a TC2, or the textile was made on the TC2, but the visual was actually made out of software that we wrote at Craftwork. And we wanted to create, when we make software and we write the software, a lot of times the software is moving, so the pixels on the screen are animating. And we wanted to try and capture that animation and that feeling of movement in the textile. So here is kind of a translation of that software into a woven piece. And then similarly, the picture on the left was also, the imagery was created using software that we wrote. And then in this particular case, we were screen printing it, sometimes on paper, sometimes on fiber. So this just shows the screen that we were used for the screen printing.
It really does move. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I just really just travels with it. It's amazing.
this piece is fun because when it's in front of you, when you move around it, it feels like it's constantly changing and shifting.
Really? Yeah. Well, this is a screen print on fabric. And again, being a fiber person, I just loved that you can see the twill pattern along with the printing in the work. It adds more movement to the work. And so was this intentional? I mean, again, you said that Victoria does more of the weaving, but was that something y'all talked about? Is that the twill will have more movement to it, and that you wanted the pattern to be seen?
I think that we're talking about a new image.
Yeah, it's not come up yet. There it is. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you on the image on the left, if you look at the far left corner, you really can't see the twill. It's kind of cool.
I think that's the happy mistake, which we find a lot because we're often using materials that you don't find within the same space and that perhaps you're not used to working together. So there's a lot of these like happy accidents that happen. Along the way, there's a lot of failed accidents, but happy ones as well. So similarly, this is also software that we created the visual and then screen printed it onto fabrics. And for this particular motif, the base of the drawing is just a dot. So every dot creates that repetition, and that's how we're getting the shape and the overall feeling of the imagery.
It's amazing.
And then
Um,
the
so-
pic, sorry,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
The picture on the right is actually a woven version of the screen that you saw in the previous slide.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I think a fun thing is even the optical illusions that you get in print from these algorithms also came out in the woven structure, which we were also pretty surprised about.
Now, was this on a TC2 also?
Yes, this is TC2 done at Praxis.
How big is that piece on the right?
On the right, it's not huge. It's maybe like 2 feet by 2 or 3
Really?
feet. Yeah.
Wow, that's tiny. I mean, for all that detail, that's tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, these are small kind of prototypes that I made, but yeah, they're not huge.
Huh. I really thought you were going to say it was huge. So you also teach at Parsons.
Mhm.
And I would imagine that your classes must just excite the imagination of the students because it's just so outside the box with all the different possibilities that they can do. So, what do you think is the hardest thing for a student to learn in your class?
I think the hardest thing is thinking about how to fabricate in both the textile world and the electronic world together.
Uh-huh.
It's something that so in, you have to have two sets of skills and then learn how to marry them. So in a lot of my classes, I get a mix of students. Some students come in with a textile background, some students come in with more of an electronics background. And so if you come in with an electronics background, the learning curve to the textiles is harder and vice versa. Come
Uh-huh.
in with a textile background, the learning curve to the electronics can be harder. But through the class, we do, excuse me, 1 second. Through the class, we do a lot of prototyping. And so they figure out how to create with both of them.
Do they help each other out? Do the weavers help the non-weavers and the electronic the people who understand the lighting help the people that don't?
Yes, there's a ton of collaboration that happens. And that's kind of the beauty of e-textiles is it's very hard to be an expert in all of the things.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why Victoria and I have been drawn to collaborating together. It not only makes our lives easier, but it means that we can actually build the things we want to build because we both don't need to be an experts in everything.
So are the students required to have a final project, like a senior project, where they have to build something? And do they do it alone or do they do collaborations or?
I teach e-textiles at NYU, and the way I teach it, it's a beginner course. The whole class is a series of creating swatches, and each week will be a new design. So the first week they'll make an LED light up, and they'll have to do that with conductive thread and conductive fabric, and then we'll work our way up to something like a soft speaker. So they'll make a speaker out of fabric. And then by the end of the project, they'll design, or the end of the class, they'll design their own e-textile swatch, and we'll do a swatch exchange with everyone. And that's the final project. And they also have a swatch book by end of class full of e-textiles.
Oh my gosh. Um, so we're going to talk some about the camp that you've been referring to. It's called the Electronic Textiles Camp.
Mhm.
And can you talk about how it came about, and what your goal is for your students that attend this camp? Looks
Electronic,
like so much fun.
it's a really fun time. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Electronic Textile Camp is usually it's around a 10-day artist residency, and we gather electronic textile practitioners who live communally, work communally, and it's a week of kind of exploring and making in the realm of e-textiles. And we held it for 2 years at the Wassaic Project in 2018 and 2019. And for the past 3 years, we've held it at Prairie Ronde Artist Residency. And when we say e-textile practitioner, that can mean a lot of different things. So sometimes we always have a group of people who all have different expertise. So we'll have expert weavers, expert machine knitters, expert software engineers, expert creative technologist, and everyone comes in wanting to learn more. And there's a lot of share outs, workshops, but also project making, groups form. And by the end of the week, there's a variety of different projects going on.
Now, are they students? Who can apply to this? Anyone, or you have to be a full-time student, or?
It's actually geared towards practitioners who aren't students. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's for artists, designers, creative technologists. Yeah.
Okay, guys, you're listening. You too can apply. You don't have to be a student. I know our audience is going, huh?
Yeah, we have people come from all over the United States, and it's based off the precedent called Electronic Summer Camp, which was an artist residency similar to Electronic Textile Camp. And it happened in Europe. So we wanted to create an iteration that happened in the United States.
Oh, wow. So this is in New York, right?
The first 2 years we held it in New York, but now we hold it at Prairie Ronde, which is in Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Oh, Prairie Run?
Prairie Ronde, I think is how you say it
Oh,
officially.
I don't know what it is. Sorry.
It's a space. They
Oh,
hold their own artist residency. They have a number of houses, and they have a studio space where we all can work and live communally together. So it's kind of like a campus, and we take over their campus for the week.
and what time of year do you have it up there?
We usually hold it in September.
Oh,
Applications usually open in January. This year, we're actually taking the year off. So if I suggest following Electronic Textile Camp on Instagram for the latest updates on when the next application will open.
I could do Michigan in September. I think that
Michigan in September is beautiful.
I bet. I
Yeah.
bet. Um, so what's next for you? This may take a while. There's so many things you're involved in. What is next for you?
What is next for me? Victoria and I at Craftwork have been working on a documentary. I'm not sure if she talked about it already, but we're working on a documentary called The Domestic Machine. And it's a documentary about domestic knitting machines. And we fundraised for it a few years ago, and we actually filmed it about a year and a half ago, and we're starting to edit it. So our fall is going to be editing our documentary.
And where could one see that once it's completed?
We're not sure yet,
Okay.
but we have plans of touring it and entering it into film festivals. So once we do that, we'll announce it to the world.
Oh, wonderful. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, we have some questions. Let's get to questions.
Okay.
This is from Liz. Nicole, that signal to noise concept. Noise is a form of signal. Is it like oh gosh, Liz, the shakuhachi concept, all events and experiences are part of life? Was this your approach too? I pronounced that probably really badly, if you may not even recognize it from my pronunciation.
I'm not sure. I know the reference they're talking about. But in electronics, we talk a lot about signals and noise. And so for us, the noise is like the disruption of messaging. And so I think for us, the noise was, how do we take something that's easily communicated words and make it into a new form? So that's for us, making it into the textile. And creating a bit of noise and disruption that way.
This is from Sue. Hi, Sue. How is the textile transport? Oh, good question. How's it transported and stored when the installation come down? Does the fiber optics crimp or break?
The fiber optics don't break. So it's a thin piece of glass that is then wrapped in plastic. And so that's what you're seeing woven in. So they're quite flexible. And so when they come down, the back of them is in our rig and it's screwed down. And then the other ones just lay flat. So when it comes down, um, they don't they don't warp or change too much. If you were to bend it
Mm.
and keep it there for a really long time, it would take that shape.
Do you roll it up or do you have to leave it flat or?
The textiles are fixed to the frames, so we
Oh,
leave
okay.
the textile fixed to frames.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good
For
question.
actually the piece that we showed at New Ink, the one where the textiles are hanging from the ceiling, we actually those we lay flat because those are hanging on rods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is from Christine. Do you have to scrape the fiber optic material for the light to come out?
No, and the reason that that question might be coming up is there's many different types of fiber optics. So traditional fiber optics don't emit light out of the sides, and that way they're traditionally used to carry a signal. That way your signal starts at the start of the fiber optic and goes to the end. The type of fiber optic that we're using is called side emitting fiber optics. So the light bleeds out of the side.
Okay. This is from Pamela. Hi, Pamela. Oh, this is a good question. Can people see more about this on YouTube? Do you have video or on your website?
There's images on our website, and then I believe there is a video on YouTube. If you Google Craftwork and New Ink put up a video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good question, Pamela.
If you
Um,
also follow us on Instagram, there's videos there as well.
oh, Instagram. Okay. What is your Instagram address? We'll put it in the chat too.
Craftwork_collective.
Collective. Okay. This is from Deborah. How do you translate an emotion from the text into light? Do you have an algorithm?
Yes. So we take the audio recording and then we use a transcription service. We use a Google API to translate it from speech to text. And then we take that text and in our installation, we use a AI service to translate it into an emotion. When we first made Ancient Futures, it was pre-ChatGPT, pre all the AI. So we used a library, a Python library that had a natural language processing library that helped us figure out the sentiment.
Wow. So there's been a lot of change since you started doing this then.
Yeah, there's been multiple iterations. Every time we revisit the project or we make a new version, we kind of investigate the technology and see, what can we change.
Uh-huh.
And the reason we used AI is not because we wanted to use the latest and greatest thing. It was more, well, this is this tool that is everywhere. What's it mean to work with it and to put it into our work?
Okay. Deborah, I'm glad you had that question. You know more than I do. This is from Christine Williamson. Are they working with any companies to turn the electronic fabrics into commercial or industrial uses? Ooh, good question.
I'm sure there are. So a lot of times these materials we purchase them from suppliers who are working with other vendors who are using it on the large scale.
Mhm.
A lot of times these materials are making it into military hands and vendors. And so when we reach out to them, they're always like, you just want one cone? And we're like, one cone. Yeah.
Where do you see a commercial use coming? Where do you see that going? So it would be a commercial use.
We see a lot of explorations of e-textiles in wearables.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So wearables used for tracking and things. I think
Uh-huh.
in a for us, we would love to see this used more architecturally. So instead of a hard light switch, wouldn't it be nice if that light switch was soft? Um,
Oh.
Things like that.
Oh, okay. All right. Have you ever made a piece that incorporates the sound of a loom or looms as they weave? This is from Carla. And Carla, I'm going to add, would you?
We have not used we have not done that, and we would. We have thought about doing a performance piece with knitting machines, just because they have a sound to them, as well as looms. I guess we could do it with looms as well.
That would be a cool thing to have at our big conference called Convergence. That that would be, boy, that would be a great thing for people to be able to see. We'll have to talk.
Yeah.
This is a good question. Rami, you're so funny. Do Nicole and Victoria ever disagree? And if yes, how do they resolve it?
Victoria and I work Monday through Friday together for like 5 years. So yes, we have disagreed. um, we have a very intimate, transparent relationship. So disagreements are often fixed quickly, and there's disagreements, but never nothing that's never solvable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're sharing we get asked this question a lot, but we're sharing like our artwork and our practice. So it's like a very unique relationship and an intense one.
I know that I find that if I'm working with someone or I'm around someone that I find uh, we bounce ideas off of each other. Does that happen for you all that even though you come from a different point of view, maybe that, oh, well, that's a great idea. What if we did this? And it's still, does that kind of happen for you all?
Oh yes, there's a ton of collaboration, brainstorming, bouncing ideas off each other. And the more and more we work together, the more and more Victoria is doing a little bit of coding and electronics, and I'm doing a little bit of the textiles because we're learning from each other over the years.
This is Christine again. What are some of the industrial commercials example of e-textiles in use today? Are you aware of it?
In use today, there was there's a lot of military applications of it.
Oh, okay.
There was a project by Google called Project Jacquard. I think a lot of the problem right now is that the conductive fabrics and textiles, you can't wash them. So I think
Oh,
that's why we're not seeing a ton of them commercially, and a lot of the wearables and things that you're seeing right now are hard. So your watch is hard. Your they're not quite soft yet.
what would it take to get to the point where it could be washable? Or is that just the huge major question? My ignorance is showing here.
I think that's the huge major question.
Okay.
Yeah. I also don't work with the e-textiles on the industrial side, so
Oh, okay.
I'm 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 not exactly sure what has been done or what is being done in terms of research and to make it at a more industrial scale.
Okay. Um, Liz said, and I have to agree, Liz, this is true. Wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Such patient explanation. Nicole, you're a great teacher. And you really are, because my ignorance is overwhelming in this area. And you did a lovely job of going, walking me through it. It's like, oh, okay, I think I'm getting this. I don't think I could go out and make something, but thank you so much for kind of walking us all through this. So we'll have a basic understanding of what you're doing and how it works. We appreciate that.
Of course. And I think that maybe e-textiles is easier than you all think, and you should give it a try. Add it to the project list.
I think maybe you need to teach at convergence.
We can talk about that as
There
well.
you go. Well, thank you so much for being on here today. This is just fascinating. I mean, I don't understand half of it, but it's so intriguing of how this works and just the possibilities. It's exciting of where this is going to go. So thank you so much. And y'all, I do encourage you go to the website, check out Craftworks, and then go, like she said, go to her Instagram. And like she said, there's videos there. You can probably learn more about what they're doing and their experiments, and keep an eye on them for their new movie coming out. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be exciting. So Nicole, thank you so much for being on here today. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We also want to thank our sponsor. Again, if you are not familiar with Blaine Fleece and Fiber, go check out their website. I got suckered into all the little critters. They were so cute. They got the cutest little lambs, Ruby and Garnet. They're just so cute. If you're having a bad day, go look at their website. You'll feel better. And they have great supplies for anybody who wants to do spinning, weaving, whatever. So check those out. Blaine Fleece and Fiber. We thank them so much for being a sponsor of Textiles and Tea today. If you would like to sponsor an episode, or your business, your guild, if you have an event coming up that you would like to promote, this is a great way to do it. Or if a group of you want to sponsor a particular date or a particular person, please go online to weavespindye.org and you can purchase a sponsorship for Textiles and Tea. If you have any questions, contact the office. We'll be glad to help you out with that. We want to thank everybody for joining or donating. Your donations help with all the projects that we have going and all the new ones that we're trying to come up with, whether it's Textiles and Tea or all the different spinning and weaving week. Oh my gosh, all the stuff that's coming up with that. Wait till you see all the classes and the tours. You're going to be so excited. But your donations make those things happen, and we do appreciate it. So if you would like to join or donate or both, please go to weavespindye.org and you can do that online. Thank you so much. If you've missed an episode and you want to watch it again, please go to the HGA Facebook page, or you can go to YouTube. But let me warn you, Facebook has changed their rules now. We used to be able to keep Facebook up forever, but now they're only letting it stay up for 30 days. So if you want to watch something that's older than 30 days, go to YouTube. And I encourage you to sign up, because if you subscribe, you'll get a notice the next time an episode is uploaded. So those are your two options, Facebook or YouTube. Next week, we have the one, the only Laura Fry. And I'm sure most of you know who Laura is. She knows more about every aspect of weaving than anyone I know. She's an incredible teacher, amazing weaver, and we are excited to talk with her next week. So please come join us. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and happy tea.